Evening all, how are we doing? We're here, we made it today. Didn't make it yesterday, but kind of made it today. It was a funny old one yesterday. How are we all doing? Everybody's doing well? Ready to head back out to Varankai? Looking forward to this. I'm going to dive back into the main story today. Sort of after helping out the citizens of Dazra and solving a few issues, getting involved in a duel between two brothers and some other bits and pieces. It's all good. Doing some adulting, Steve. Oh, it sounds like a terrible idea. How are we doing anyway? Hope you are. Evening, Tangy. Yeah, looking forward to this. Was going to get going yesterday and jump in, but by the time I was actually ready to roll, it was like 9 o'clock at night. And I don't know if I messed something up in the setup because I was trying to do too many things at once or what, but clearly the word didn't go out very well, and I was like, well, this is getting silly now, and it's getting late, so I thought we'd pick up today instead. Anyway, looking forward to this. Yeah, now we can see, hang on, tuck my bleeding shirt back in. Yeah, nice. Right, yeah, so we're just hanging out in Dazra. We, main story-wise, had joined up with House Varun, become a member, because they won't even really talk to us if we're not, apparently. Certainly some deal with that anyway, but I think it was something to do with them not allowing outsiders in Varankai, and you can, by converting to be a member of House Vryn, you're no longer an outsider. I think that was the gist of it. But anyway, we're in, and we spoke to the 3 members of the ruling council who advised. These are the only 3 who were outside the zone of the disaster at the time it struck, and therefore are kind of organising what the heck's going on in the wider city. Yeah, once we'd spoken to them, they had varying mixed opinions about our getting involved, but ultimately needed to get back in touch with, not least of all because we've actually managed to talk to some of the Vortex Phantoms, specifically in Asko Varun, and nobody else has even managed to hear a word he said. The idea is that we might be able to make contact with the people inside the Scaled Citadel, find out what the hell's going on. Because after a couple of weeks, they haven't managed it. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. How are we doing, Gray? Got to notification a bit late, by then I deleted everything. Yeah, kind of changed plans at the very, very, very last minute there. But, yeah, the notifications didn't go out right, and it was getting late, and things were all over the place, and like, yeah, well, let's pick it up again tomorrow. That's what we're going to do. Being tomorrow now. Kind of. Right. Buttons. On the plus side, I did manage to get over there and get rid of all the stuff I needed to sell off, so that was cool. I got that done during the downtime. I also spent some time today grinding out a load of legendaries and then scrapping them to try and get some footage for a legendary crafting video that I've been working on for ages. And despite scrapping a very respectable number of legendaries, what I got for my trouble was 1 boxed mod, and that was it. So, yeah, my gathering of footage for this video is not going very well, which is why I haven't done it yet. It's taking bloody ages. Yeah, a bit of a mixed bag, I think, really, Gray, there. A little bit of all of the above. Anyway. Wrong game. The price broken. Yeah, we're basically right at the end of this quest, and we'll pick it up. So, reach the city of Dazra, talk to the Brewing Guard, talk to the Phantom, that would be an Asko, talk to the Councillor, fire Malabor Dulkiev, talk to the Herald about the ritual, walk the Serpent's Path, becoming a member of the House, complete House Varun, and converting. Complete the ritual, and then having a conversation with Inaza was the Herald, having a conversation with the High Council, or the members of it that are outside. And now we need to talk to Ekris, who is involved in setting up, hopefully, an attempt to make contact with the Scaled Citadel. So...
Behave yourself. There's already enough trouble in Dazra.
I recognise that voice. That voice actor was in Skyrim. I'm going to say this a lot, and have been saying this a lot. Because I've been playing Skyrim the last little while, week and a half. Yeah. And Bethesda do tend to use the same voice talent. Let's see if this has been fixed yet. I don't think it has. No. We'll see if it has in a bit. So occasionally you'll go pick up a voice you recognise. That's a good point. Yeah, technically speaking, I've got the Serpent's Embrace background, so it's raised to believe. But because of the way you interact with Androsia and her sort of relationship dialogue and story stuff, her quest line, and also arriving here, you're not actually part of House Varun, you're just a believer. Beyond that, it doesn't really say anything. And Androsia still takes the line that because you're not a member of House Varun, you're still doomed. So that kind of sucks. I think that's all a little bit like, So you do have to convert in that you become a member of the faction proper, the group, the House Varun proper. So you've got to do that. Whether or not you do it because it's genuine or you're doing it just to kind of so that they will accept you and accept your help is a bit of an RP thing. In my case, my sort of position is that the character was her parents were probably part of the Zealots, and having had children decided this was a bit too bloody extreme for them now that they were parents, backed out, but still raised their kids in to believe in the whole thing. And then she was very much against the whole almost serve angle that even her parents to a certain extent had. And that's why she left her parents and went off to basically turned her back on that whole life and went and started a new life in the UC. Bit by bit, ended up on the streets in New Atlantis and then joined the military. So in her case, I don't know, I don't think she's fully officially converting. She kind of already views herself as a worshipper. But so I think there's an element of placating it, but it's also, Androsia will probably be happy about it because she no longer has to hold to the view that you're not part of House Varun, so you're going to meet an unfortunate end. Screwed up there, didn't I? Yeah, anyway. So she's kind of doing it for Androsia, and she's kind of doing it post-reformation, kind of. Yeah, she's kind of doing it for Androsia and to support her relationship with Androsia, but also because she does kind of believe, but she's not the extremist a lot of other people are. She was raised to believe in it, but she's not nuts. You know, she turned her back on a lot of it as well. As did her parents to a certain extent, as Dax explains why she's not part of the Zealots. And neither were they by the time she was growing up.
Nightmares could I imagine Jinan Barun saw a future like this.
Yeah, I don't think he saw any of what he claimed to, personally. But I think he was quite the con man, really. But anyway. So we got people here and they need help. So let's go and provide them with some. Eric's Cassia is here.
Look who it is. You have made quite a stir, and given the state of things, that is a singular accomplishment. To what do I owe the honor, Vindicator?
I was having a look at the wiki, I think, or something like that anyway, and it came up with a list of the various combinations of statues you can choose during your walking of the path, and the various, yeah, because it's like, was it you choose 2 out of 6 statues, and or 6 possibilities, 2 out of 3 statues I think it was, leaving 6 combinations, whatever it was, and there's therefore a different set of, each set of choices you make gives you a different title, and I came up with Vindicator, which I quite like. The Mourning device, that's it. That was what they're trying to build in order to get in there. Up there. Malibor says work on the Mourning device must proceed. High Council told me to help your project. What's going on? Oh, so what's going on?
At the moment, obviously a great deal of nothing. Have the High Council to thank for that. Politics and expedience rarely pair
You got
well.
Vindicator as well. I picked the same ones I did then. Malabor says more work on the Mourning device must proceed.
How magnanimous. But approval is approval, and I will gladly take it. I will spare you much of the technical detail, as I confess that pieces of it I barely understand myself. One cannot help but notice the energy field around the scaled citadel. Until we can get through it,
Yeah.
we cannot shut down the experiment inside, and it has proved quite impossible to get through. We had the beginnings of a plan to build a makeshift contraption to redirect Grav-Drive energy to see if we could penetrate the barrier, but the project came to a halt. Politics got in the way.
I can imagine that without the speaker to issue clear directions, things have been difficult.
Every one of the houses needs to contribute, and everyone realized they could potentially use it for leverage. What should have been a cooperative effort turned contentious. Easy decisions became negotiations. And so, construction never began. We have sat here, staring at this disaster as supplies pile up for well over a week now. Serpent help us, it is infuriating.
Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of flexibility in what you could choose there and how you want to approach it. Was it Strength and Perseverance, I think, were the two I took, which led to Vindicator? I can't remember. Yeah, the Mourning device is it's what they're trying to build in order to get through that field. We know, at least I think we know, I know, that there was an experiment being done inside the Scaled Citadel involving Grav-Drive technology. I think they did say this, but the gist of it was to try and get in contact with, to try and re-establish some kind of contact with the Great Serpent, because the only person who's ever had any was Xion Varun, and it is now one of his grandsons who is in charge of House Varun. So nobody, apart from this one guy, has ever had any contact with their source of their entire fucking culture. Or foundation of their entire culture. Nobody can really verify that either. And he's 2 generations ago now, so yeah, you can see the logic. And also add a little bit of religious fervour on top of it, and you've got a recipe for playing with fire. That's what's that silly phrase, something about tearing the mask off nature to stare at the face of God? And they've decided to use, if not a nuke to do that, a massive Grav-Drive. The upshot of which was, because partly it's linked between the Scaled Citadel and the space station above, which is where we arrived. Because we found that after it had managed to displace itself through Grav jumping. We arrived, helped out, and then it Grav jumped back again, which brought us to Vurun Kai. Or orbit over Vurun Kai anyway, and then we flew back down. Yeah, so the result of that experiment not working out is obviously the situation they're in.
Now.
And it sounds like, because the ship that's up above behind us, that is kind of the High Council's meeting chamber, or the bridge of it is the former flagship of the Varun fleet, the Mourning. And yeah, the Mourning device, it looks like, is going to use that ship's Grav-Drive in order to try and get through this field. So that's kind of where we are, to help this guy who's supposed to be setting it up. So no point complaining about past time to move forward. Here 10 minutes, council is already annoying. You should be grateful I'm here and can continue work. Why do you need the council's approval? Well, because they're in charge.
The council just so happens to represent the 3 houses under Varun's banner, who are also entrusted with various aspects of running, well, everything. Each of those houses needs to contribute something to the project, so the council is the final stopgap. Were the speaker here, he could bypass all of it with a wave of his hand, but, well...
Anaska, I presume.
You have already seen the state he's in.
Yeah. So the speaker's Anaska Varun, representatives of each house form the High Council, who then advise the speaker, who ultimately makes the decisions. I think is the setup. Grav-Drives just literally manipulate space-time around. Yeah, they do kind of bend it into a bubble around you and move you around it. The whole warp drive idea is a weird thing. But yeah, their idea obviously here was not so much to use it to move yourself through space or move space around yourself, but to tear through space in order to see what lies beyond it, kind of. So it's a fair description of what they're trying to do, but it covers quite nicely just how stupid a thing it is to try and do. Yeah. What happens if I make a hot dog but I use a stick of dynamite instead of a sausage? That kind of level of stupid. Headache is about the best you can hope for. I've been here 10 minutes and they're already annoying. Grateful I'm here, you can continue. Time to move forward.
Indeed. All must serve.
Yeah, let's not go that far.
I believe I've done enough complaining for now. Time to get to work. If you're here, the Council has likely sent word to the houses that it's time to stop the infighting. I doubt it will be enough. I need to oversee construction here, make sure things are built to specifications. If you could follow up with the houses, that may speed up the process.
Mm-hmm. Get right on it.
I appreciate that someone around here is eager to get to work. House Vetol owes us access codes for the city power grid. It's the only way to guarantee enough power to activate the device. House Kadik was supposed to provide a young scientist named Sahima to help me. She had at least some experience with the original Citadel experiment. No idea why they refused to send her. And Hasmek, the new elder of House Dulkef, he has been distant, guarded. He claims to have vital information about an important component of the experiment, but has withheld it until now. Help me get what we need, and we will see what we can do for the Speaker, and for House Varun. And I may have something that can help you in whatever trials the Serpent puts before you as we navigate this. We have been nearly overwhelmed with all that has happened over the last few weeks, but I have still spent some time doing my own research when I can. These phantoms, the vortex. Fascinating subject, really. If only there were some less disastrous way we could have discovered all this.
Yes. Fascinating isn't the word I'd use to describe it. It's not something that will help me get rid of the phantoms. I don't care about it. Not the word I'd use to describe it.
I know. I have lost friends and colleagues myself. We have encountered several interesting phenomena. First, while the phantoms shift to a fully human form when killed, they often retain small shards that appear to be an almost crystallized version of vortex energy. Second, we have learned that killing the phantoms sometimes causes an even greater disturbance. Horrors, as they have been colloquially termed, can appear from somewhere. We are unsure of their origin, but it is not within our universe. These horrors and their spawn are infested with cysts, a seemingly organic manifestation of vortex energy. We have managed to collect enough to run experiments and have devised a method of combining them into an explosive mixture with varying properties. While they have no use in the development of the Mourning device, if you find yourself out in the field, I believe they could have more practical applications.
You fucked around with the massive energy involved in getting through to the vortex and unstable experiments to break through to the vortex, and this happened. What do you do when something comes back from the vortex? Experiment around it to make bombs out of it. Did you fucking learn nothing? You fucking stupid. Have you not fucked enough up already? You've blown half your city to hell, so you use the resulting fallout to make more explosives. There's no fucking saving some people, is there? Unproven technology against enemies from outside of our universe. Sounds like a great plan. Not interested as I can handle myself. Fine. I'm going with the middle one.
I do hope you are not questioning the thoroughness of my research. I assure you, they will work. The process is simple enough that any industrial workstation should suffice, if you have the materials. And, depending on how you combine said materials, you may find the results to be somewhat variable. I hope you can use that to your advantage.
Nothing about what you're saying is inspiring me. Craft some kind of grenades, apparently, which I'll go and have a look into. How have things been affected by the disaster?
Just look around.
Yeah, anything?
I'm sure you have at
beyond the
least
obvious?
some idea of how much we have physically lost. A huge portion of the city is just gone. And those left behind are struggling. Supplies are limited. There is so much work to be done, and we are all just so tired. I hope that eventually we can return things to the way they were, but we must be realistic. That will take time, and I suspect a great deal of it.
Hmm. What do you know about the experiment in the Citadel?
Not enough to have prevented it from happening. If I had any idea
Even
it was
ancient,
going
right?
to turn out like this,
How we doing,
it had
Flippers?
been Inasco's primary goal for some time. A way to recreate Xion Varun's encounter with the Great Serpent. Everything we knew about Grav-Drive technology, every scientific advancement we'd made in the last 100 years was poured into it. Towards the end, I was just so exhausted. I asked for a brief time off. Had I not, I would be trapped in there with the rest of the science team.
It's the will of the Serpent to be here now to protect the promised. Sounds like you got lucky. Perhaps the Great Serpent had other plans for you, and no way of knowing this was going to happen. I'm not going to go for the full Serpent's Embrace option, because it's just a little too full-on. My character isn't quite that full-on. This is a little bit more laid-back version of the same thing, from my perspective.
Yes, I am sure that is how some would see it. I left the project weeks before the disaster, and at that point, we were nowhere near ready. Some breakthroughs were made shortly thereafter.
Yeah, ironic choice of words.
The experiment. And here we are.
Yeah, breakthroughs. What did they break through? The fucking face of reality. To cause a shitstorm, I think would be a good phrase.
Yes, depending on how much trouble you're getting into. We have been nearly overwhelmed with all that has happened over the last few weeks, but I have still spent some time doing my own research when I can.
You're now a goat farmer and Uncharted, eh, guy?
Fascinating subject, really. If only there were some less disastrous way we could have discovered all this.
Right, I think we're about done there for now. Hey. So, lining the houses. Assist house to Kef, Vithal, and Kiddish. Okay. Geek. Kef. Vithal. Oh, let's start with Kadik. Can't remember which one was which or what was going on, but that was have it refreshed. Yeah, no visit from Noel yet.
House Kadik seems to have remained largely unscathed. How fortunate for them.
She wasn't associated with them, then? Certainly a look.
You can't be serious granting them an audience. This is exactly the impression we don't want to give.
Please, Jamal. Don't Can't you see how all this works in our favor? It's not up for discussion. I won't risk what we've worked so hard to achieve. It's done.
No, you'd risk our future and reputation as a house. But you are the chosen
That's a
elder.
look as well.
Ah, don't patronize me. The Great Serpent spared our house. We are favored here. And shouldn't you get back to the council? We can't afford to be absent at a time like this.
I guarantee I'm not missing much. But you're right. I'll be heading back soon enough.
Was she on the council? Can't
May
remember
the
now.
Great Serpent bless you.
So, Akris has sent our newest Vindicator to inquire about Sahima. Don't worry.
It's the missing scientist.
Jamal's already told me all about you. I'm Razma, Elder of House Kadik and head of the Ministry of Conjunction.
Tell me about House Kadik.
House Kadik is one of the 3 noble houses under House Varun. We've a reputation on being the more moderate of the 3. Not as fervent as House Vithal, and not as passive as House Dolkef. We're also largely associated with the Ministry of Conjunction, since I lead the department.
Tell me about the Ministry of Conjunction.
The Ministry of Conjunction is one of the 3 government branches of our society. We deal in information to ensure the High Council can make educated decisions. Most of our work is highly classified. Even the High
spies.
Council itself may not be aware of all that we're involved in.
Well, let's be polite and make sure we try and get off on the good, on the right foot.
Well, it's also an honor to meet one as interesting as yourself. I wouldn't have suspected an outsider to be made promised. But who am I to argue with the Great Serpent's choice?
Not for us to question the Great Serpent's will, it fucking is. You heard some of the shit that they claim is the Serpent's will? Question that shit. Yeah, I've seen some of the features on the Vortex Horrors. They are creepy AF. Yeah, when the snake talks to you, listen. All I need is Shima. Council sent me to get your cooperation. We need Sahima to help recalibrate the Mourning device.
I know the Council is looking to Sahima for answers. But the truth is, she's been taken. Along with other members of the House. They're being held hostage. By zealots.
Well, we can deal with that.
Now they're demanding negotiations.
This is a major overreach. I have never known the zealots to be so bold.
What they demanded, can't trust them, could be a trap. They don't negotiate, they kill on sight. It's a bit different with House Varun. A little bit. Why not just tell the High Council how they're able to kidnap your people in the first place?
What happened to Dazra was a cataclysmic event. The city may seem in order now.
Calm.
But those
Not about
first
an
few
order.
days, it was chaos. And the zealots took advantage.
Clearly they had spies still left behind. Why didn't you tell the High Council?
Because right now, this situation is a matter for the Ministry of Conjunction. As much as the Council thinks it's their business, it's not. At least not yet. They want Sahima, and we're trying to produce her.
What then has the Zealots demanded so
Zealots
far?
have yet to name specifics. At best, they'll demand an inordinate amount of credits or firearms. Worst case, a seat at the High Council, or even the reinstatement of their house. House Malene. They know we can't risk Sahima for Dazra's sake. So, they won't hold back when it comes to demands.
If I can get the hostages first, I'll have their leverage, extreme demands. Tell me about House Malene.
House Malene was fully dedicated to Jandar Varun. They objected when his brother, Jarek, was chosen to take
Second
over as
leader
leader.
of House Varun.
They knew he would bring an end to the Serpent's crusade. It's why they abandoned their house and became the zealots you know today. to continue what they believe is Jinan and Jandar's work. Jinan Varun had twin sons, Jarek and Jandar. Jandar fully supported the Serpent's crusade, and to many in House Mourning, was the best suited to take over for his father.
There's also a house?
They had a house. House Mourning was abandoned a long time ago, but there are some who'd want to see it reinstated.
The gist of their goals and the Serpent's Crusade was anybody who was not part of House Varun. Well, the general consensus that most House Varun members have is that they'll be left behind when the Serpent returns and claims the universe, galaxy, whatever it created. And that only members of House Varun, its worshippers, will be spared as they serve it. The Zealots and those who favour the Serpent's Crusade take the position that the only way the Serpent comes back at all is if everybody who doesn't believe is exterminated first. So they're fucking batshit insane, really. Always be polite to the department they run to the assassins. Yeah, that's usually a good idea. Yeah. Yeah, very effective. Pissing off the assassins is an effective way to get yourself in a non-consensual assisted suicide situation. Yeah. If I can get to hostages first, they have no leverage.
Aha. My thoughts exactly. Normally, I'd have agents doing everything possible to find them. But we too suffered losses. We need to be here. Present. I couldn't risk more lives. It's the only reason I even agreed to these negotiations. But now that you're here, I can finally take action.
I would say start the negotiations, get their attention on the negotiations, and hopefully spread the Zealots' forces a little thinner, whilst I then go around the back and free the hostages, with hopefully slightly less resistance. Great Serpent goes, this is more than coincidence, it's fate itself. That's a bit much. Tell me where they are. I'll bring Sahima and the hostages home. No negotiations needed. Show the Zealots you don't mess with the noble houses. Isn't risking the lives of a few agents worth it to save the money?
Of course. But the negotiations offered a chance to get Sahima and the others back without putting lives at risk. I saw the chance and had to take it.
It's worth looking into.
As demanding as I'd expected the Zealots to be, I fully intended to do everything in my power to bring them within reason.
Yeah, I'll bring them home.
And that's where the issue lies. I don't know where the Zealots are keeping Sahima, but I have a good idea who does. Their name is Nick.
Somebody's going to be talking soon.
And they also work for me as an agent in the Ministry of Conjunction. This is where matters get complicated.
Complicated? They have kneecaps and information I need. They can keep one of the two. At best. It's not complicated at all. Tell me about the complications. I failed to see the complications. Sounds like Miraka's my next stop. I hope you aren't being lenient because it's related to you. Shouldn't be him. If he knows, how come we haven't forced him to tell you?
Once I made the decision to go through with the negotiations, it wasn't necessary. Now that the situation has changed, well, that's going to be your job now.
We'll see how it goes, Steve. I've been enjoying what I've seen of it so far. Also noticed, sort of, when I stopped to think about it, there's been relatively few bugs and other issues with the DLC as far as I can tell. I can't recall any instance of serious bugs with it. So, I know some people have encountered some further on through the story, but so far I've not run into anything. How you doing, Brad? Well, speaking of. Yeah, tell me about these complications then.
As I said, Merrick works for me in the Ministry of Conjunction. They've been establishing an inside relationship with the Zealots for some time now. On my orders. Forcing them to give up the information could jeopardize all they've worked for. So don't expect them to be forthcoming.
Could blow
Get
their
the
cover.
information any way you see fit. As long as no physical harm.
So, you mean my
Understood.
tell me what I need to know or I'll blow your kneecaps off approach doesn't really work here? You're establishing a relationship with the Zealots?
What better way to surveil a threat? It's important for us to know what the Zealots may be targeting, to stay one step ahead.
I believe that's a Mirac. There's a few characters that have cropped up in this so far that link quite strongly back to Skyrim. There's a Danica here as well, for a character from Whiterun. So let's took your people. Why are you so calm?
The people of
the
Dazra look
job,
to us
really,
elders
innit?
for strength and guidance. We cannot fail them at a time like this. Don't let my composure fool you, promised? It's neither easy nor something I take lightly.
Why would giving the location jeopardize Mirac's work? What
The
blows cover?
Zealots don't trust easily. If their location was discovered, Merrick would most likely be the first they'd suspect. They'd never trust them or any agent of House Kadik again.
Oh, so he's not undercover at all. Well, them. They. They're there as an open envoy from House Kadik. Okay. Any tips on getting through?
Merrick is proud of what they've accomplished, so I doubt they'll give up information easily. If being persuasive isn't your strong suit, perhaps appealing to their substantial ego may help. If you can stomach it. Just don't be direct. I'm sure it would put them on the defensive. Either that, or make them completely unwilling to talk.
That's what kneecaps are for. Or other people's kneecaps, anyway.
See that you do. You'll find
Okay.
Merrick upstairs in the meditation room.
You're no member of House Kadik. What are you doing here?
Does seem to be a bit of a cock end. Greetings, fellow promise. Rasmus told me this was a meditation room. Good to see you. I may not be House Kadik, but I'm the only one here that's communicating with Anaska Varun, whatever I want. And I need to know whether Zolt's holding Sahima hostage. Rather directly. I will, I think we'll lean into it a little bit here.
Forgive me, I didn't realize we were entertaining guests. You must be the outsider I heard of who shares our beliefs. So tell
Some of
me,
them.
what would a chosen one such as yourself want with someone like me?
Yeah, he's an annoying cockend. I recognise the voice actor again as well. I don't know who it is, but I recognise the voice. I think perhaps you know.
Oh, I certainly don't. I may have many talents, but mind reading isn't one of them.
Zima said you know, so out with it, almost serving that. It's not ridiculous. Rasmus told me you know. They could drop the out, told me about your position. Something said you know where the zealots are. Something for that. Rosma told me about your position. Okay.
Did she now? I guess this means the High Council is still asking Auntie Rosma where Sahima is. And if you're here making demands, she obviously has decided to make use of you rather than undergo sincere negotiations. I see what's going on here.
If you're so smart, tell me where it's going. You know how important it is to the real location of the base. Very perceptive. See why she's so impressed with you. Yeah, a little flattery won't hurt. It probably won't work, but...
Well, I am one of the few to garner any amount of trust with the Zealots, so she should be. I can't imagine where the Ministry of Conjunction would be without me.
At young age too, she must consider you a prodigy. Impressive to be trusted over more senior members. Must put in a lot of work to make that happen. Let's go impressive.
Yes, I can see the jealousy.
I like the candles, by the way. They look pretty awesome.
It's
little
nice to see I'm being
hand-drawn in their vibe, though.
I may excel in my skills, but it doesn't mean the hours I put in are any less.
Yeah. Everything else is really kind of clean and metallic looking, and like it's almost a different art style to the candles, which do look kind of like they're painted or something. It's kind of odd. I mean, they look great. They just kind of look like they're from a slightly different art style than everything else. Although the lighting is obviously the same. Of course, not good work take time, no matter how talented you are. I can't do this. Let's cut straight to business. Wow, you really are full of yourself. Yeah, definitely. Good work takes time.
Exactly. There's still research, analysis, documentation. Too much documentation, if you ask me. But altogether, I have the exact talents needed to do this job, which is why I was entrusted with the Zealots in the first place. I admit it hasn't always been easy. They are Zealots, you know.
Can't imagine how hard it must have been to earn the trust. It takes a lot to deal with a lot of stress. So it doesn't all come easy for you. Word and Zealot attack on sight. How do you get close to them? Yeah, it's good. How do you get close to them?
I see you're familiar with standard Zealot tactics. But it's really all about crafting the perfect scenario to encounter the right one. You don't just waltz up and say hello. It takes a great deal of surveillance and profiling to determine the right approach.
Make sure you've got something they want, or can deliver something they want, valuably enough that they'll let you keep your head. I don't know, alright? Can't imagine how hard it must be to earn their trust.
You have no idea. I can't even tell you how much time and effort it's been to sway the Zealots my way.
Not too bad.
The stress over my own personal well-being. I may be the best at what I do, but I'm not stupid. The Zealots do have the element of unpredictability.
They're unpredictable. You can see how negotiations may not work. Hostages may not be safe. You know the danger Sahima and hostages are in. They're unpredictable. You can see how the negotiations might not work. Well, he's talking about his own danger, and so he knows the danger. Thinks the way to go.
I was wondering when your own agenda would come into play. I've worked hard to obtain my position with the Zealots. And like I've told Rosma 1,000 times, I have no reason to believe they're going to hurt my dear cousins, especially Sahima. So, as far as I'm concerned, that information stays with me.
Still shoot him in the knee, right? Rethink your position. Find the location of my own. When I find the location of my scheme, I'll let you know how much you cared. You really think they won't harm the hostages?
Sahima isn't just being held hostage. They're putting her to work. The Zealots aren't stupid. They know what Sahima was involved in. And if they can beat us to that tech, they're going to try.
And you haven't shared this till now? How's Kidigi's not sharing this with the council? That's borderline treason. That severely affects the whole well-being of House Faroon. And you're keeping it to yourself? Yeah. That's gonna bring about the downfall of one's house. I'm not particularly impressed with these guys at the minute. They're willing to risk the whole, well, their habit of secrecy, I suppose, is making them risk the whole bloody society. I'm saying, no, it's none of their business, but it blatantly, obviously is. Well, we'll go with the persuasion option. I should be able to persuade him.
As much as I'd like to help you, I don't think so.
Can't trust the Zealots. If you're wrong, you could lose everything. Can't trust the Zealots. If you're wrong, you could lose everything, I think is the play.
When you put it that way.
Yeah. Kidic move, exactly. Could turn on you at any time. You can't possibly know if the threat posed to Dazra. No, nobody can. Also, but we do know that letting the Zealots get through to Anasco is not going to be a good outcome for the rest of Dazra and House Faroon. Could be a pretense. I need to consider the dangers here. Negotiations could just be a pretend. Yeah, let's go with that one.
I suppose that's a possibility. All right, I'll let you in on their location. But remember, you're the only one that knows. If word spreads, I'll know exactly who's to blame. The location
what about
you're looking
exactly?
for is Shadow Station Epsilon. It's an old Varun base that they've taken over for themselves. Rosma will know it. Let her tell you the details, seeing as how I'm about to be reassigned.
Save lives. Why we're giving you the information that you reassigned?
These are obvious. The Zealots will know the location came from me. All that hard work thrown out the window because someone refuses to undergo negotiations.
You literally said yourself they're putting her to work to create the device, basically their own version of the Mourning device, so they can get through to the Scaled Citadel and beat the rest of House Varun to it. There is no possible way that this is a legitimate negotiation, because even if they get everything they want from the negotiation, they still wouldn't. Well, I suppose if they were got reinstated into House Varun proper, they could then get into the Scale Citadel that way. But their ultimate goals of basically killing everybody who is not a member of House Varun is not going to be solved that way. Like, their goals are not going to be achieved through this negotiation, and it's abundantly obvious. So hence why they're going round the back of House Varun and trying to get access to the Scale Citadel themselves, I would assume. So yeah, like, there's the only sensible thing to do is to go and get the hostages out directly to put an end to the Zealots' plans, because the negotiation is never going to have a positive outcome anyway. I mean, he's going to lose his position, but if he keeps it, the outcome's far worse. So, yeah, anyway.
You do that.
I'm going to munch on it. Anything in particular right now, do I? So, a lump of chocolate and some water. Apparently that constitutes a meal. About as legit as a U-Class salesman called Xion. Yeah, he seems about right. Well, that seems about right. He is quite the arse. Well, they are. Although we were warned.
You must have gotten the location.
Yarp. Some gifts us with knowledge. Shadow Station Epsilon. Merrick gave me the name.
I figured they wouldn't be completely forthcoming. If my intel is correct, you can find Shadow Station Epsilon in the Badlands, north of Dazra. I can send you the coordinates.
We'll still have records on that. I'm sure it was a former base of this. Why didn't you try to search it earlier?
Shadow Station Epsilon is one of many Zealot bases scattered throughout. As I mentioned before, I wasn't willing to risk agent lives in order to scout them all.
Can you tell me about the place?
Epsilon was once a research station, with a focus on Grav-Drive manipulation.
Of course.
The Zealots have since vastly expanded upon it. But it makes sense if they intend to use Sahima to their advantage.
What are these shadow
The
stations?
Shadow Stations were established during the Serpent's Crusade. A series of secret military installations that few knew about, and even fewer may remember. The idea was to have isolated centers focused on different aspects of furthering the Crusade. This way, if one fell, it wouldn't endanger the others.
Zealots are about to lose their
If
leverage.
anything happens to the hostages, they will lose a lot more than leverage.
We will do whatever is necessary to bring Sahima and the others back safely.
Now that we
Exactly.
have a rescue mission underway, I'll speak to Merrick about setting up the negotiations. I expect them to be pliable after their last encounter with you. The current plan is to hold them at one of the geothermal power stations. Meet us there when Sahima and the others are safe.
Neutral location outside of Dazra. I'll be there. Why this particular power station?
It's a fairly neutral location, and just the right distance from Dazra, so both parties will feel safe. The geothermal stations are also autonomous in nature, so we don't have to worry about unwanted eyes and ears.
And where is it?
If memory serves, it's southeast of Shadow Station.
Yeah, just north of town. The other side of the Scout Citadel.
Hard to find.
We zoomed past it a couple of times last time. I mean, yeah, the power station when everyone's safe.
Good. Serpent willing, your timing will line up. I'll stall the Zealots as long as I can, which shouldn't be an issue. That being said, I'd still appreciate it if you could act quickly. Now, Jamal wants an update before you leave. Just don't let her distract you for too long.
Vindicator, a word before you go.
The game has bloody different controls. It's confusing.
Tell me, Vindicator, what do you know about the Zealots?
Few bits. Fanatics to kill those who don't follow the Great Serpent. Yeah, that's true. Trying to judge, misunderstood, getting him away. All members of once noble house of Mourning. Well, I know all of this. Yeah, I'm going with that one.
An oversimplified observation, but correct nonetheless. The Zealots are widely frowned upon within our society. They're a remnant of the Serpent's Crusade, days we'd like to forget. Has my dear sister given you any history on our house's relations with the Zealots?
So they're working on establishing a relationship, holding information. Ministry Conjunction keeps tabs on them. Building a relationship.
I'm surprised she even mentioned that much. Razma would have everyone believe she only wishes to keep an eye on the Zealots, so the Council can make informed decisions. The truth is, she's had this particular group of Zealots under her thumb for quite some time. This is only a problem now because she's lost control. That is the real reason why Razma hasn't informed the High Council, and I'm sworn to silence.
I would argue that what you describe would be considered treason,
What she said.
and rightly so.
Also, the other guy, doesn't want to know whether a relationship is basically treasonous. Also, when they're trying to do something, when you know that the Zealots are trying to do something that is a direct threat to the rest of House Varen and the society, and you say nothing, that in itself is treason. Multiple fronts. They are in deep shit. She lost control of the Zealots.
Yes, I'll get to that momentarily.
I'm sure that's something the High Council won't be too keen on.
As a member, I can say it certainly is not. House Kadik already has a reputation for being sympathetic to the Zealots. But the truth is far worse. Razma wants the Zealots to back House Kadik, so the balance of power between the noble houses would shift to us. She's been employing them, paying them in supplies that aid their blind crusade.
Then that's straight up treason. Yeah. Supplying the enemy is definitely... hard to believe the council isn't aware of any of this. Why would Zealots back a noble house? Because they think they'll get back in.
Razma would believe they want to reintegrate or even re-establish House Malene, and she's a fool for it. The Zealots want
only if they can
nothing but the
take
means
control.
to carry out their war. Credits, weapons, and ships. And
Like
these
to do
very
it as the
supplies will
official
be
face
used to
of House
harm not
Varen,
only your people, but our own as well.
Right, they'd definitely like to do it by taking over, becoming the, replacing Anasko Varun with their own speaker. Is Housekeeping sympathetic?
There are several members who are sympathetic toward them or their cause. Some see beyond their extremist veneer and believe they're just misguided. A very small few may believe Jandar truly was the rightful heir, but none would ever admit it. I'm certain it's the case that members of the other houses feel the same. House Kadik is just the only one who's been exposed for it.
You stuck your neck out too far and in the wrong direction, and now there's a meat cleaver coming down on it. I find it hard to believe the council isn't aware of any of
The
this.
council knows nothing of her work with the Zealots, and I aim to keep it that way.
Yes, sorry, hon. Your sister's
All
about to get
elders
thrown
have
under
their
the
own
bus.
ambitions. I'm certain that's all they see. What none of us expected was the disaster that is the Scaled Citadel. The aftermath is what allowed the Zealots to grab Sahima and the others, flipping the balance of power in their favor. Razma has lost control and is putting House Kadik's reputation and power at risk.
Putting the entire damn society at risk. Yeah, it's like, oh, our house, we're going to get into trouble. It's like, everybody's up shit creek if they pull off what they want. Never mind just you selfish fucktards. Oh, God. I'll find us so she can take back control. I'll see to it the Zealots have no power in these negotiations. Seems like she is controlling the situation well after me. I'll see that the Zealots have no power in these
And
negotiations.
that's what I wish to speak to you about. House Kadik shouldn't be associating with Zealots at all, except on an extermination level. But worse, we absolutely cannot be supplying them with ordnance of any kind.
And that you
We
have
need
been
to
doing.
cut ties with the Zealots altogether.
Don't worry, when I out you, we are absolutely be cutting supplies. Cutting ties, rather. Actually, because you'll have your head cut off, probably. Why not tell council of them, put a stop to it, take the conversations, it's not bad giving you an update. Spine terrorists isn't a good look, no one should associate, and you expect me to do something about it. Why not tell the council and have them put a stop to it?
Exposing this information to the council would condemn not only Razma, but House Kadik along with her. I have no wish to tarnish our house or ruin my sister. I simply want to show her the error of her ways.
So you just want to put a stop to it without actually seeing her punished? Yeah, well, that makes sense. It is a sister, after all. No one should associate with terrorists. Yeah.
One would think it's common sense. I want you to put an end to any connections between House Kadik and the Zealots. And while my position won't allow me to be blunt, I'll still make it clear. Should the hostages not survive, Rasma would blame the Zealots and cut all ties.
House Kadik would go to any lengths, it seems.
That's not going to happen. We need Sahima alive. We do. How's killing your own family any better than what Rasma's doing?
Those few lives will be nothing compared to the lives the Zealots will take if House Kadik continues to supply them.
Well, don't worry. We'll put a stop to that as well.
Open my sister's eyes, quelling any sympathy and desire to work with the Zealots. Once Rasma no longer sees the Zealots as an ally, the rest will soon follow.
She doesn't want her sister to get into trouble or continue associating with the Zealots, but she's quite happy to have somebody murder her cousin to make that happen. Fucking mad bitch.
Perhaps you don't understand. These noble houses have existed for generations.
Sounds like maybe they
People
need
look
to
up
stop
us guide
existing.
them under the will of the Great Serpent. The fall of a noble house would put everything into question. And with the state Dazra is in right now, I won't allow that to happen.
Don't worry, the house doesn't need to fall. His head just needs chopping off. Putting this to Rasma? No. Look, you need to him alive? No. You're condoning the murder of your own family.
I'm doing what I must to preserve this house.
Your house is
All
fucked,
you
mate.
need to get is Sahima's research, which she has with her.
10,000 credits and it's a done deal. No way. I'm not doing your dirty work, not committing to anything. Fine burning because no one should work with Zealots. Let's see this done. If I say no, they might send an assassin in anyway. Might flip it over. Not committing to anything. Not doing your dirty work. I'm going to go with not committing to anything because it'll leave me open to... Because, no, this just encourages her to find somebody else to do it. Or possibly, yeah. I'm not committing to anything kind of... these things are ambiguous enough, and I can hopefully keep innocent people alive and make sure that the ones who end up in the firing line, because somebody's going to, are the people who should be there.
Think about it if you must. But if you care about your people, you'll come to the same conclusion as I have.
I mean, your people.
And when you do, just know that we can't afford any loose ends. No witnesses. As far as everyone else is concerned, the hostages were dead when you arrived, and you exacted revenge in House Kadik's name.
Care about my people? What people? Is murder everyone your solution to everything?
Of course not. But in this situation, it is the most effective means to an end. As a mediary, I am constantly weighing decisions based on both immediate and long-term consequences. This decision is awful, I know that. But the far-reaching consequences are worth the sacrifice.
What people?
The settled systems, of course. They're the Zealots' #1 target with more victims every day.
You think this is a believable story?
Zealots
Well, it is,
are
actually, yeah.
unpredictable, and their passion to their cause often makes them prone to violence. Whether the Zealots believe it or not matters little, but Rasma certainly will.
Like I said, not committing to
I
anything.
trust you'll make the right decision. Until then, I'll see you at the negotiations.
Oh my. So one sister is bananas and is using her spy network to get control over as many of the Zealots as she can so that she can gain greater power for herself and her house. And the upshot of which is basically funding terrorism for her own goals. Primarily because the terrorist primary target is not them, presumably. But ultimately, she's engaging in treason in the hope of gaining more power for herself and her family. Meanwhile, her other sister wants to keep her out of trouble and her house out of trouble by killing her cousins when they've become hostages so that there's no evidence of that connection. Which she also wants to put an end to, which is something, but not much. Yeah, this is quite the contemptible pair, those two. Ah, it's now been repaired. So there we go. When I first arrived, this thing was being worked on. Okay. So, looks like the buttons don't work properly.
If you break one or more legs, I am not carrying you.
Yeah, don't know where those have gone, but it's not ideal.
If you do not need medical assistance, I suggest you move along.
All about that.
Salutations.
I saw one of those things. A phantom. Its face was so familiar to me. Could it have been my partner who was lost to the calamity?
Mm-hmm.
I do not want to believe it. I would rather my beloved have died swiftly, painlessly. I do not want to believe that they are now a phantom, trapped between worlds.
Do you really think it was them? Surely it is possible.
I don't want to believe. You can just. I don't want to believe the evidence right in front of my face. Really. Not brilliant. So. Wouldn't have anticipated it being over there, actually. Have I completely come this way unnecessarily? I thought I was going to need to go and grab the Rev and take a trip around in the Rev, but I may have not been necessary after all. I literally sprinted past you, buddy.
Hopefully the soldiers are all out on missions or patrols and not gone.
No lollygagging indeed. That's Skyrim as well, isn't it? Yeah, they definitely designed the landscape before the vehicle. Which is generally how it goes IRL as well, but you design the vehicle to work with the landscape, and that's not what's happened here. Now, they've tried to design the vehicle to work with as many landscapes as possible, but the reality is there's a lot of gaps that it just doesn't fit through.
No more signs of trouble.
Chicken tortilla soup. How the hell does that work? The tortilla bit specifically. It doesn't matter whether you've got dry tortillas or crunchy tortillas. In either case, they're not going to, soft or crunchy rather. In either case, it's not going to combine well with soup, purely. I think I'm not terribly far behind you, Brad. I got sort of 2012, 2013, something like that. I will have started playing Skyrim. So more than 10 years at this point, on and off. So actually, that way's probably better. I actually got on the shelf back there somewhere my PC DVD copy of the original version of Skyrim, but with all the DLC, so Game of the Year edition or something like that. Yeah, so it's got all of the DLCs in it. Because I already own that. Already done, that's right. Okay. Yeah, because it already here comes a vortex horror. Yeah, because I already had the base version of Skyrim when they brought on PC. When they brought out, yeah, they are ugly.
Take what you must. Leave the rest for
The
the
freaky
scavengers.
faces, the knee joints. Yeah, when they brought out Skyrim Special Edition. Ooh, anything interesting there? No. They gave at least PC users on Steam free access to it, which is cool. Oh, I see. Okay. So they're more like the softer tiers, but in strips and then added to the soup. Kind of. Hmm. Yeah, brought in Xbox 360, saw Gopher's videos on modding, and have been modding ever since. Gopher has some good videos on modding. Incidentally, if you're looking to play Fallout London, I'd point you in the direction of Gopher as a good modding resource on that front as well. Because that's where I've been going. Yeah, I've been modding the absolute living daylights out of Skyrim the last 10 days or so. There's a footpath that is designed for, funnily enough, being traversed on foot. Looks like it's probably a Zealot's vehicle. Zealot's ship. And it's stuck on a rock and floating. I mean, I haven't seen many serious bugs, but I wouldn't call that a serious bug, but... much point, really, I don't think. I was going to take a picture of it for the sake of sending it in as a bug report, but I think the whole thing's going to be a bit of a pain in the neck to do. So I have a couple of ideas here. Fine. Hmm. Fence was apparently quite effective at keeping bullets out.
We shall fill your core with a Great Serpent! A gift for the accursed!
I mean, who's shooting? Oh, there you are. No, we'll do it the old-fashioned way then, commando style. None of those things went quite the way I intended.
Take your best shot.
You'll need it. You see that? I walked up there and threw a grenade at that zealot, and the physics of it just sent them flying over the barricade and going miles, as if I was somehow Superman or something.
Something. Are you prepared to die?
Well, that for a throw. Well, I knew these zealots were lager types. Didn't really register this as a shooting range, mostly because you can just walk out in front of the shooting standing point, whatever you call it. The point from which you stand and shoot. Penumbras count as heavy weapons, don't they? Firing line? Yeah, I suppose. Feels like it's 90 degrees to where the firing line would be, but... what would be the firing line, perhaps might be a better phrase. Everything's set. Down with the bad guys. It's just the same book. Okay. Yeah. Sadly, my language skills are not my strong suit. Yeah, got rid of all the turrets the old-fashioned way, as is always the way in Bethesda games. We've done over 800 expeditions in the past 4 weeks. Jesus Christ, Steve. It's a lot of time and effort to be sinking into it. I did a bunch today. I think I managed about 3 hours of it? No, less than that. About 2 hours of it before I went, nope, I've done enough. Just to say my outcome was not particularly spectacular. Frustrating indeed, Steve. Oh, good. They're a bit less top tier when you only get the boxes, though, and not the crafting plan, or whatever you call it. The knowledge of how to craft them. Does overreach. Ooh, that's cool.
It is a disgrace that the zealots flourish here, right under our noses.
Take cover!
Objection!
And once again, we are triumphant.
Okay, there is a slight issue that I have noticed throughout Dazra, or Barankai in general. A lot of occasions where shots effectively just don't get to the target. They'll hit an invisible wall or whatever. Made it through the door that time. I can see you. Your ass must be full of lead right now.
You can't hope to win.
This thing is ridiculously effective, but I kind of don't like the whole big square of shots on it. Kind of... It's somewhat too easy in some ways.
Extra ammunition is always welcome if they have any.
Gotcha. Little spray and pray. I'm gonna need a more normal weapon. Mind you, this is not legendary yet, and I still don't have a legendary weapon, so... Acquisition of what's the long... Oh, I see, it's that. More normal legendary weapon is definitely the goal. I think the thing he didn't do there would have been just to step up and bang. Although the helmet might have gone a long way. Okay, the ops crashes. Sucks. So I don't even really have to aim. If I just point it in the general... Well, I don't have to aim, but she's in the doorway. I've got the entire door covered there. Look at that grid on the doorway. Back here, Andresia, please. Anyway. It's not that one. Those two. Cool. Interesting contrast there. Control. I'm guessing that's fully dealt with now. The wrong choice. There we go, that feels better. That one, at least it's not there. There we go. Yeah, that was an exercise. In here. Yeah, about that. You're the ones who deviated from the doctrine and the faith. Technically, you're the heretics.
You cannot elude the shrouding.
Ooh, what's the shrouding? Presumably, their plan to exterminate everybody in order to facilitate the return of the Serpent. But anyway. It's way downstairs.
Good one.
Too easy. Cannibal on your go character. I think it works. I've definitely seen something about Cannibal on your Google character as being a thing. I can't remember what it was. Must be that one somehow. Yeah, that one and that one, I know. Gotcha. Beep boop. I do kind of like the concept around mag weapons. They're kind of fun, but they are ridiculously overpowered and so broad in their ability to hit targets, I suppose. And it's kind of they're rather on the not quite know the word I'm looking for is, but they're ridiculously overpowered. Cool concept, but too easy to use and too high powered. Basically is what I want to say. Ooh, hello. That's a very big case for a very small object, but anyway.
The Great Serpent is...
Part of me is tempted by a melee run in this, but
the aim, but if there is
this kind of does suffer, I think, with at least some of what Fallout suffers with, and probably for the same reasons. Which is that melee combat is severely underdeveloped in these games. Does he look like a bitch? Yes, he does. But throw his gun at me instead of firing it. Include your key card. That's useful. Have a good one, sir. Hard target. Yeah. I don't mind the mag sniper quite so much. Kind of Gauss rifle vibes, and yeah, it's very, very powerful. But it's meant to be. And it kind of fits in a certain space, and it only fires one shot at a time, it's slow firing.
To help. That zealot had a key. You have to get me out of here.
What's the plan? I want to find out a bit more about what's going on down here before I do, though. Right, here's the lady we came for. Ah, industrial workbench. What's the new thing I learned how to make? Got a grenade thing, wasn't it? Vortex grenade. There we go. So we've got binding. Binding vortex grenade that explodes and freezes enemies in place. Charge. Explodes and does conventional grenade damage. It summons a vortex horror. No thanks. Phasing phases the targets out in the explosion. Interesting. And unstable with unpredictable effects. I'm kind of curious about all of these. I don't have the cysts and stuff that apparently we need to create them, so not very useful. And the rewards are extremely difficult to get, but yeah. You're right there, Andrew. You're just chilling out in the back while I'm doing my thing. What's that? Why does it look so goddamn cool? I was going to leave her sat in the chair in the picture, but apparently that's not going to be a thing that happens now.
Who are you?
Hima. By the way, your cousins, one of them is entirely down to use you for her own advancement, and the other one is quite prepared to kill you for the same thing. So you might want to get the hell out of here, hon. Got into laser guns. Yeah, I'm thinking about that, Gray. I'm tempted to... Well, I would be tempted to respec into them, but quite a bit grinding to do, which wouldn't be too terrible. I could definitely do that. But I want a decent version of it. I don't know that I've got a decent version of them yet. There's the Orion equivalent, but I don't really like that style. I'd rather have the Equinox equivalent, which I've got one of, but I don't think it's a particularly good one. Still struggling for this. It sucks. Serpent guided me here. I'm here to lead you to safety. That's pushing it. Vindicator. Rasmus sent me to rescue you. Okay. Come with me. I'm getting you out of here. I'm your rescue party. Let's go. Oh, let's go with this one. I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
Serpent's grace. I knew it. I knew she wouldn't just leave us here to rot.
Yeah, she would have gladly done
It's more
that.
than just me. There are others. The Zealots have been using them to force me to continue my research here. They think I have all the answers since the original experiment was a catastrophic failure. The Zealots were wise in their tactics. Up until now.
Good news. The High Council thinks you have all the answers too. Exactly why I'm here to rescue you. Original experiment. What are you talking about? So it's forcing you to continue research here. Original experiment?
The original experiment. The one that took out half of Dazra and sealed off the Scaled Citadel.
Yep, familiar.
Surely you must know.
It's a nice outfit she's got.
I realize the elders and council members may not be properly disseminating this information. I'm not one for politics, obviously.
Oh, yeah, I know of it. I didn't know she was involved with it. Zealots want you to continue research
Well,
here?
the Zealots think they are forcing me to continue my research here. They want me to apply my theories to Anasco's Scaled Citadel debacle. Somehow they ascertained my previous involvement.
Council thinks you have all the answers too.
So my theory is correct. Or I should say, the High Council now believes my theory, the better theory, is correct. I knew it! I told them their algorithms and insufficient testing were only giving the illusion of stability. But no one wants to listen to me. Not the girl who put people twice my age to shame when it came to assessments. Of course, this is what it would take for Razma to send someone after me.
Well, she's not completely naive then. Zealot's also planning on using you as a pawn in negotiations. Don't think like that, your family? No. How about by the catalysm, said to herself. Zealot's also planning on using you as a pawn in negotiations.
Oh, right. I'd almost forgotten. I overheard the Zealots mention negotiating with House Kadik, so the motivations are clear. Not only does the High Council deem me important, but Razma needs to remove me from the equation. I get it. But at least now everyone knows I was right.
Yeah, by the way, your other cousin, Razma's sister, the High Council member, she wanted me to shoot you. Let's get back to getting out of here. We can get back. You can say that to their faces. Screw motivations. I'm here to rescue you. Yeah, to the faces.
With pleasure, but I won't leave without the others. The Zealots aren't aware of how I've been delving into their systems here.
Right.
I told them I needed full access if they expect me to replicate Anasco's experiment, and I didn't even bother with risk assessment. They think I'm applying my theories to their poor excuse for technology down here. Granted, I could probably make it work if I had to.
Alright, Miss Humility, let's focus on freeing the hostages. I hope you're telling me it gets easier from here. Let's focus on freeing the hostages.
Right. Focus. The other hostages are being kept just beyond this room.
Might have a look at it,
I can
Grey.
disengage the locks to their cell and grant you access to an elevator in the room beyond that will take them to safety. You just have to clear out that area first, and the Zealots down there are different.
Believe I've encountered them. How are they different?
The Zealots you'll encounter beyond here are altered somehow. To be made thus would be to show them the Great Serpent's mercy.
The hostages not fight with me? I don't really need that. Alright, let's go.
I'm not going anywhere yet. While you get the rescue underway, I'm going to set up certain guarantees here. I'll meet you and the others outside.
You're gonna blow the place. What are you gonna
The
do?
Zealots have a small network here that I can plug into. They think I've been working on my research, when really, I've been formulating a virus that will shut down this entire base. And their ships.
The Zealots catch
I'm
you.
more than capable of handling myself. Besides, the Zealots think they need me, so my life isn't in danger. If I'm not out there when you free the hostages, just come back for me.
I don't like the idea of letting you out of my sight, to be honest.
Well, you have to. I just need enough time to set up a remote device so I can launch a virus that will render this place useless. Think of it as a failsafe to guarantee our safety. The Zealots would never risk this base or their ships.
Give me research in case you don't make it. Why not set up your remote device to sabotage the Zealots earlier?
These are Zealots we're dealing with. The only reason they even have hostages is to make sure I stay in line. I couldn't threaten them without knowing the others were safe.
Alright. Good luck, we'll see you outside.
You sure will.
There is no one I would rather see right now.
Aw. Thanks, sweet. Right. It's gonna get hairy down here, I suspect. No longer in the base, now we're in the tunnels and caverns underneath. Yeah, redeemed. Redeemed look very, very cool, and I still want their outfits as spacesuit options or something. This massively overpowered sniper rifle doing the job quite nicely though.
We should move on. There's nothing worth taking.
Yeah, it's a cool look, that. Starlash, that's the one. Yeah, I've only got the basic versions here. I don't know what they don't seem to be dropping with a higher ranked version of it as far as I can see. Well, there's an advanced one. That's better. That's much better, actually. There's a refined. Yeah, the advanced is more like it. That I could go for. Maybe something to set up over the next little while before the next stream, perhaps. Could do that. I mean, advanced hard targets doing over 3,000 damage per shot. Yeah, that's a lot. What's my Can't even see the bloody thing right now. There's my mag sniper. Doing 867 per shot. With instigating to double that. Plus obviously charging it, so that's not bad. I don't know if you can get one that's higher up than refined on this. Though I don't have massive points into snipers either. I do, it's still more than enough. Just land your headshots anyway, which is what it's all about. Nice. Going through a DMR style. Yeah, I don't know that I'd want to do that really. So I think I prefer it as an automatic version for an assault laser weapon. If I can make something cool out of it. We'll see. Might have a play around with it.
Serpent, be merciful. Has help finally arrived?
Sure has.
Who are you?
Gavin?
You aren't a zealot. Who are you?
You Vindicator. Here to rescue you. So he must sent me. I'm getting you out of here. Yeah, Rasma's not getting the credit for this one.
Thank the Serpent. So that means she's safe?
Should be. She's going to take us to an elevator to escape. And it's just all of you?
If only. There were more of us down in the caves.
Oh, I'll get them out too. What do you know about these redeemed?
We haven't been able to observe much. They are physically superior, stronger, faster. They ignore pain and are resistant to things that would take any normal person down in an instant.
Not a railgun to the face, they're not.
Have done to create them, but I would surmise the process was less than pleasant.
She's getting us an elevator out of
I wish
there.
it were that easy. The Zealots separated us. Our brethren are still out there. Please, I can ready my people here, but you'll have to deal with the Zealots and rescue the others so we may all escape safely.
You don't want help?
I'm afraid we're quite useless here. They've been starving us, keeping us weak. Probably for just such an occasion. I fear more for the ones they've taken to the caves.
Anything I should know about the Zealots down there?
Another Redeemed is stationed down there, along with a few other Zealots and a Model S. Be careful.
I'll clear a path then.
I'll be ready.
Take your best shot.
Poke your melon out, buddy. Come on. I love it. Hang on, I'm trying to press the heal button and nothing's happening here.
Retreat, brother! Great Serpent.
Don't you worry, I'll be coming for you in a minute. Make sure you don't crawl away, actually.
Bring it.
Oh, nice jump there. Not exactly facilitating my butchery of them very well, are they? I'm stuck in a hole, I'm stuck in a hole. Oh dear. We discussed this, buddy. Don't you have to know, they're upper states, they're not really heretics, are they?
Always
It's not
worth
quite the
checking.
same thing.
Never know what you might find in their pockets.
So we just run for the exit. I was going to open fire on him there. But... what's up here then?
Well, this seems worth a look.
Gotcha. Someone's got a surprisingly nice bedroom down here. It's not, like, in the grand scheme, particularly nice, but it's nicer than I would have expected down here, you know? Yielding set. It can do good work. I can't remember which way around unyielding works though. Is it special stats up as your health goes down, is it? And really, that's, if I've remembered that rightly, it's only really any use if you do go down the bloody route. Which we can't condone. I don't remember how I came in here now. Oh, that's somebody. Oh dear. They've been using for target practice apparently, or threatening to use for target practice.
Great Serpent. Thank the Serpent. I thought I was done for.
I feel like I missed something here, but anyway. Have this whole room over here. It's worth checking out because there might be another hostage in there. Yep, there is.
Is this... The Great Serpent has heard me.
Today Mahil introduces us to a new weapon against the heretics. They're called the Redeemed. It seems it remains to be seen how they live up to their name. Truly the Redeemed are a weapon, force to be reckoned with, but it's such a fate. One of great honour or punishment. They fight and speak with a fervour we share, but while ours comes from a place of passion and conviction, theirs comes from somewhere primal. It is both all they know and all they have. Got one over there, one over here. I feel like there should probably be one somewhere over here then, but I don't see any. Walked past anybody, did I?
Hopefully there is something of value here.
No, okay, I think that's everybody for now. Yeah, I thought that was last. That was unyielding. Maxed everything out there, haven't you, Steve?
Thank you. We all...
My character's only at level 62 at the moment, so it's a bit generalised still. Or still pursuing a few different threads.
You did it! It's true what they say. The air really does smell fresher.
Serpent bless you. We owe you our lives. Thank you.
But alright. Here's Great Serpent, you smiled on us this day. Time to get everyone back. You're welcome. Glad you made it out safely. Don't you forget it. It's like I do for House Kadik and people of Dazra. Well, people of Dazra anyway. You're welcome.
Now, it's time for you to head back. I'm going to stay back a moment and make sure everyone here is okay to make it back safely. I'll catch up with you shortly. Just let me know where the negotiations are taking place.
Badlands Power Station, you're coming with. Sure you'll be alright?
Of course. I successfully rigged a remote device to shut this whole place down the moment I see a zealot. I just need a moment to make sure everyone is fine.
Badlands Power Station, you're coming with.
Have I mentioned I'm sick of people telling me what to do? I'm staying. I'll be there when it counts. Now go.
These members of your house have suffered. I can respect your decision.
The geothermal power station isn't far from here. I'll be there.
Might have hit the wrong thing then. Dehydrated again. Doesn't surprise me. Have I already been here? I'm confused. Yeah, okay, I know where I am. Cheers, Greg. Level 134, yeah. This is my restarted character as well, so there is that.
I just want to go home. Don't worry, I'll be there.
Oh, I see where we are. We went in that way and emerged through that locked door that I did actually look at. Okay, I know where I am. Not what I wanted to press. Getting all my controls mixed up because I'm playing 3 different Bethesda games at the once with 3 different control schemes. Do it for time, okay. Around that way, I guess. Yeah, I spotted it. In fact, it was floating on the way in. Seems to be a fairly consistent bug, that one. Evening Star. I do quite like those engine thruster mounts. The engine mounts rather, these things. Quite like those engines as well, although not so much with the design of that ship.
If Dazra is to recover, everywhere the Zealots have infiltrated must be cleansed.
You're crouching trying to open your pit point. Yeah. It's more torches and scanners that I'm having issues with, but... still.
Is your intent to be unreasonable the whole time? I thought this was a negotiation.
We're having a friendly chat, aren't we? It's not my fault you don't find my offers acceptable.
Nah, just the person I wanted to see. Please tell me you bring good news.
Yes, it's time to ruin this guy's day.
And I'm going to enjoy every minute of it.
Razma, who is this? You allow any commoner to just waltz
Hang on.
in on official business.
Hang on a minute, I can't see what's going on. All this stuff's cool, but you've got cool looking characters standing in the dark, and they could have rigged it up with a bit more workable lighting so that
Is
Didn't help at all.
intent
Oh
to
well.
be unreasonable the whole time?
Yeah.
I thought this was a negotiation.
We're having a friendly
There's the
chat,
homicidal
aren't we?
bitch at the back.
It's not my fault you don't find my offers acceptable.
Nah, just the person I wanted to see. Please tell me you bring good news.
So we're in the Sky's day.
And I'm going to enjoy every minute of it.
Razma, who is this? You allow any commoner to just waltz in on official business.
Can I punch him?
I'd expect better security from House Kadik.
This is hardly official business.
Yes. And now these so-called negotiations are over.
Over? You'd risk everything after the whispers of a stranger. I demand to know who this is.
Yeah, to colleagues, I'm a UC captain. Yep, that's true. So I turned my back on the Zealots. And enters negotiation. Both of these are quite... This one I quite like. Kind of like that, but not so much. I'm the Serpent's chosen vindicator, the only one who can understand Ascover. Yeah. That's kind of a bit weird, I don't know. Kind of like both of these. I'm going to go with this one, just because it's a bit more relevant to the story, I think.
You think I care about Anasko Varun, son of a traitor? Only a complete fool would expect me to believe this.
It's true, Mihail. And if you don't leave now, peacefully, I'll make sure your ships and Shadow Station Epsilon are made dust.
You... How did you... You're bluffing.
Test me. You think a genius mind like mine wouldn't find a way to hack
Hell,
into every
I was
system in your
kidding.
base?
Your fucking...
This remote device will launch a virus that will detonate systems within Epsilon, and reach your ships as well.
You realize how this may affect future partnerships, Razma. You'd jeopardize our connections.
It jeopardizes nothing. It merely restores the natural order.
The natural order. I could take you all out here and now. You know every one of us is prepared to answer the Serpent's call.
Perhaps the sufferer is the Great Serpent's plan, and no one's meant to die today. So he will launch the virus. It's impossible to reason with Zealots. You attack, we launch the virus. I'm kind of tempted to go with all of these, actually. Alright. Killing a handful of Zealots in the grand scheme is not going to change anything. I'm not concerned about walking away from this. What does concern me slightly is if our two politicians here on my left don't walk away from it, then on the one hand, yeah, they entirely deserve it. On the other, I can't drop them in the shit later, which is entirely what I'm going to do. So there is that. So that's kind of, much as I would like to go with this one, I don't think it's the most worthwhile. I think it's very, very short term. You attack, we launch the virus. These two are different versions of the same thing, really. But I like Serpent's Embrace option, I think.
Only a heretic would be blind to the Great Serpent's work.
Oh, my eyes are open. It's just hard to discern the truth through all the treachery.
It's aren't a coincidence to his will. No, you're pushing him. All the Great Serpent's children we shouldn't be fighting. Save your anger for the true heretics. Fuck that. Enough lives have been lost. Live to fight another day. Kind of can go for that one. Although, in the grand scheme, he will go out and kill more people. So. Well, Serpent's children we shouldn't be fighting. Yeah, if we're not fighting, then they'll turn on people who deserve it even less, though. So, Let's carry on with this one as a means to talk him down. We'll lean into the Serpent's Embraced option.
You may be newly promised, but I can't deny how the pieces fit. All right. I won't deny my brethren the death they deserve. But I won't forget this either. Don't think this won't change anything, Razma.
Things have already changed, Mihail. From the moment you kidnapped House members. These negotiations are over. Now leave us.
That was intense.
So, leave your gun, buddy. I want it. No, festival sex. That's intense. It's just a casual conversation.
House Kadik is in your debt.
Jesus Christ, she reminds me of somebody, and it's not a good thing. Or a type of person, really.
You are a part of this house.
I know. I just wanted to
Yeah,
say
remember
thank
this
you
mad bitch wanted to kill you, though.
personally. And here, it's the research and algorithm the High Council wants. I'm sure they'll appreciate it more coming from you.
What makes you think they'd appreciate it more coming from me?
As much as I'd love to gloat, I have enough awareness to know this isn't the time. And I know myself well enough to know that I simply wouldn't hold back.
You didn't have the Serpent's Embrace choice. Well, yeah, there you go. As a way to keep the guy from flying off the handle, using it to my advantage was definitely the play, I think, there. Even if she's not, my character is kind of a child of former zealots who kind of turned their back on the extremeness of it all when they had children, and then she turned back on the whole... Like, they weren't willing to go out and kill everybody. The parents kind of settled down to the idea of, more like everybody had it coming, and, almost serve the will or die, even though they weren't actively going to fight for it, because, they had family. And she turned her back on that, but using it to make sure... Because she went and then joined the UC, using it to try and make these guys, less homicidal is kind of in keeping with her character. I'll make sure the High Council gets it. My turn to say thank you. My turn to say thank you, I think.
You're welcome. It's been quite the life experience I've had lately. If you have any spare time, maybe come find me later?
Sure. See you around, Shima.
Great.
Sahima,
you can
how do
find
you
me
say
at
it?
the Great House whenever you get the chance.
And she's got some more quests for me. Cool.
Sahima. As I was saying, House Kadik is in your debt.
By the way, Razma, Sahima, your crazy sister wanted to blow her away. You were still alive. You're lucky I came through. This business with the Zealots needs to end.
And one day it will. But until then, they're a necessary evil.
That was her chance, and she just turned it down.
I'd appreciate it if you kept this a secret.
Not going to happen. No, the High Council needs to know.
Our relationship with the Zealots has always proven beneficial, especially when it comes to our work at the Ministry of Conjunction. The only reason they gained any semblance of power was due to the gross miscalculations of Anasco and his research team.
Sheer bloody
this
arrogance on her
information
part.
to the High Council will only diminish.
What under her jaw is crazy. And yes, you need to be brought down, preferably a couple of pegs at the very least. Failing that, press it entirely to your knees. How has it been beneficial?
The Zealots are an effective tool when needed. They're a
Yeah.
source of information, a window into your world, and yes, at times...
So you want to point them against us when it's convenient? Nah. How can you even consider working with them?
Zealots are extremists, but our goals
Oh
are
yeah,
the
the
same.
shrouding is the return of the serpent, isn't
Spread
it?
the word of the serpent and await the shrouding to be embraced. A solid alliance would involve concessions, but more than likely, it would quell their misguided crusade.
No, don't care. Your goals are entirely insane and short-sighted and ultimately geared towards maintaining your own power, not for the greater good, so off you fuck.
Some alliances are worth the risk, but that will be for the High Council to decide, should you decide to play the informant. The others involved know better than to speak of this.
I've just realised what she looks like. She looks like somebody who took way too much fucking Ozempic. From this angle. It's not a flattering set of lines on her face. It's... I feel that was a bit unkind, but dear lord, there's some weird cuts to her face and shapes and stuff. It's just like... The hairstyle with it doesn't help either. It kind of speaks to her character, though, in that regard. Her outward appearance lines up with the type of personality that she is. What makes you so confident they remain silent?
House ties run deep. Betraying one's house is a display of disloyalty that no house would tolerate.
Explains why
it's a guaranteed way
she's doing
to
what she's doing.
Ostracize yourself in a society like ours.
And Skyrim, nice. Be so sure, I expect you to show loyalty. Your sister prefers I didn't even rescue the hostages. Well, yeah, let's create a little bit of strife within this house that clearly deserve it.
As much as it disappoints me, I can't say I'm surprised. Jamal's never cared for our view.
Jamal, that's her name.
And she has no love for those taken.
Or anybody but herself,
this
really.
Is what makes her an excellent mediary. A mediary is another title for a member of the High Council, whose job it is to represent their house when the Elder cannot. My duties are to House Kadik and the Ministry of Conjunction. I trust Jamal to properly represent our views at the High Council.
And you're as bad as each other. You let it
This will
slide.
be discussed at length later. But that is a personal matter between me and my sister. But the truth is, House Kadik comes first and foremost. And she was willing to pay the hard price for what she deemed necessary. Had I been in her place, I can't say I wouldn't have come to the same conclusion.
If you say so.
I know so. And wouldn't expect an outsider, promised or not.
Yeah, when you put family...
Now,
you're in a position of political power and you're putting your own gain over the good of the majority of people. This is everything that's wrong with the situation. And just one important little thing.
No, I will not help you hurt.
Suck on this, ladies.
Gonna take more than that.
I think I might just ruin my relationship with Androsia. I'm doing the world a favour. A lawsuit payout. Yeah, it's not going to end well, that's for sure. Weird. So there we go. Return to Chris at the Mourning device before we crack on with the next couple of bits. Maybe next time, I think. Ah, the ship has disappeared. I guess it was a Zealot ship, was it?
Ooh, writing in style, I see.
That part comes later, dear, when we get back home. So he is back where he always was, I think. Yeah. Right there, this is the way up, I think. Here we go, yeah. Oh, wind chimes of a sort. I turned around so I could see them with the headlights on them, and then I couldn't turn the Rev 8 back around. Right out in front of a vehicle, why don't you? That's never going to end well, is it? Sure what event you mean there, Shifty? Aha! Now this formerly closed off area has changed a little bit and the device is being built. Or assembled, I should say. I thought this area might change and those crates might just be the supplies coming in that not start assembling. It's panned out more or less the way I was expecting.
Understand. I saw a Nasco, took measure of his burdens.
What you are describing is a dream, nothing more.
Not a dream. A message from the Great Serpent himself.
With all due respect to your craft, dear sister, now is not the time for incense and ash leaves. Or do you not see the depth of the crater before you?
On the contrary, brother. I see it for what it truly is. And if we ignore this vision, a Nasco will be lost to us forever.
Enough with the proselytizing. The Vindicator has returned. Ah, were you
I
able
see.
to find
So the Herald is the sister of the scientist we're working with. Yes, I got the research. Sure this is going to work?
Theoretically, yes. The science is sound, especially with Sahima's numbers. Either way, we have no choice but to take the risk of failure, as small as it may be. Whatever Anasco did inside the Citadel remains unchecked, and we are all at risk until we can get inside. Perfect. I have no doubt Sahima's work is the key to stabilizing the Mourning device. If only the others had listened to her, we may not have lost so much of our great city. This leaves houses Dul Kef and Vathol.
Politics can wait. Every moment we delay, Anasco descends further into the void.
For the last time, faith will not remove the barrier. Science will.
It is the hubris of science that failed you in this moment. We reached out to the Great Serpent. This is his reply.
You claim he has forsaken us?
I do no such thing. The Great Serpent's reply is not an answer, but a question. Are we worthy of his grace? Until that is proven, your works will not succeed.
Shrouding obscures the way forward for those who lack faith. Well said, Herald. Our works will succeed because they're backed by science, not by religious mumbo-jumbo. Don't know if either of you are right. You're both right, which the faith our efforts will succeed, but it means nothing without science. Why else we prove our worth?
To be promised requires more than just faith. This calamity is one test of many we will endure until the shrouding. Just as wine is born from the blood of a grape, our lives are a trial. We must spill our souls before the Great Serpent and countenance his judgment.
Point of contention. The only person who has ever had any direct contact with the Great Serpent, as far as I'm aware, is at best, Jinan Varun, who has been dead for a very long time at this point. At least a substantially long time. So, any speculation as to this is what the Serpent wants, or this is we have to do this or the other to prove ourselves, is at best speculation based on second-hand information from Jinan, and more likely just wild religious mumbo-jumbo with absolutely no support to it, which is all most religious crap is anyway. So, yeah, shut up and get out the way, in short. Yeah, I'm going to have to come on the... Like, my feeling is 100% on there, get out of the way, it's science, not religious mumbo-jumbo, which will fuck all to do with it. Character, on the other hand, how does she feel? I don't know if either of you are right, I think, for my character.
It is fine to question. The truth will be revealed in time. But the proof is not in our words. It is in the vision. Anasco's presence still persists in this world, and he seeks our aid.
Fine.
It's probably on schema.
This argument 1,000
yeah,
times,
exactly, bro. Or more likely, just made the whole fucking thing up to
nonsense.
Attempt to create a cult with himself at the head of it.
Agree to her fool's errand so that we may continue the work of saving this city.
Oh yes, I rather suspect that is the thing we'll have to do. Extended mag Starstorm. Jeez.
You need something, dearest? I have never been one to shy away from shouldering my share of a heavy load.
So calibrated with 5 and 18. What the fuck was it called? Lower damage but double ammo capacity, so yeah, not worth giving her that.
I am so grateful for you.
Interesting. Yeah. Got to admit, I suspect most of this is just a big old con job on the part of Jinan Varun, and he never saw anything, didn't believe he did, and just set the whole thing up as a religious con job. But yeah, this whole scenario is built off the alleged faith of one dude. What he believes and claimed to see, and a lot of other people believing what he said. But it's wildly daft. No, in fact, Christianity is probably even worse because there's. Well, I mean, I suppose if you can prove that certain other prophets lived, they may believe what they claim to have seen, but yeah, it's the same kind of principle. Yep, it's fucked. That's the other thing I wanted to check. I don't know if this is going to work out, but we'll check it. Let's see whether or not I can trade here yet. An experienced jump drive. We know for certain there's an alternate dimension that could be accessed with Grav-Drive tech. Yeah, well, this is where some of the science fiction elements start to get dodgy, because the whole warp drive thing that the Grav-Drive technology is supposed to be based on doesn't take you out of the universe or anything like that. It just folds space around you, kind of. Which is what's supposed to happen here. But then you've got this vortex, which is more like the space between alternate realities, because you've got that whole thing with the Unity and stuff, and it just transfers you to a new alternate reality, and then you go through everything going on there. So yeah, you've got that whole alternate reality thing, and the space in between each alternate reality that's sort of like stuck side by side is the vortex, I think, in this case. And so a Grav-Drive is not really supposed to punch through there. It's only doing it because it's functioning outside of its intended functionality. But yeah, as to whether or not that means Xion and Varun actually did see something from the vortex while they were jumping, there's no reason that should have happened. Maybe there was a malfunction in the Grav-Drive of their ship that allowed him to communicate with something between realities. Possible. Also possible he didn't see a damn thing. Nobody else in thousands and thousands and thousands of grav jumps throughout settled systems has ever seen or reported seeing anything of the sort, other than him. Vortex horrors show that there's an entity in the vortex. Yeah, but the vortex horrors also look to have bits and pieces of humans attached to them, and they only appear after vortex phantoms have been killed, who are people who were then trapped in the vortex, we think. So where do the vortex horrors come from? Do they come from the vortex? Did they exist, or would they exist if it wasn't for our direct involvement and ending up there? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. So maybe the Great Serpent is out there. Maybe it's something that's been misinterpreted. But yeah, with everything that's going on in settled systems and all those countless...
The incident was a terrifying show of the Serpent's power.
There's a lot of... They seem to be more into being bald in House Varun than elsewhere in settled systems. Well, the ladies do. Yeah, given the countless number of grav jumps throughout settled systems, in fact nobody else has had any experience of the like here, or even seen a vortex horror or anything like that, let alone the Great Serpent, suggests that Xion Varun was talking out of his bunghole. Certainly the far more likely scenario is that he bullshitted the whole thing up out of nowhere.
You do not have approval to trade with me.
Bitch. You sharing your mod lists there, Brad? I lean the other way. I've been using Vortex. Speaking of. And it has been working well. I'll admit, it's a recent development to go. Oh, no, I think I've just got the joke. Thanks, great. Filling in the blanks. Yes, I have been using Vortex. As far as modding goes, recent developments in over the last few years, it's one of the biggest steps towards making modding more approachable than it has been previously in years gone by, which is really cool.
Always a satisfying moment to return
It
to
does
your
leave
ship.
some questions open. Yeah, I am curious to see how it goes. Suspect I'll have a more firm opinion one way or the other by the end of the DLC, but... yeah, that might be a bit much.
All thrusters firing.
Still a bit annoyed there's very limited trading options in Dazra. Although it does make a certain amount of sense. Centauri, there we are. Been used to it. Yeah, I used something briefly for a while in my early modding. I forget what it was though. There was a whole bunch of different programs back in the day, and they seem to have been consolidated a little bit more recently. Really, in spaceports, they need to put a marker down, like somewhere over here or something, that stops, that kind of controls where that can spawn in. I know it's normally like just off to the front right of your landing bay, wherever that might be. If it's at the back, you end up with it over there. But it needs to be not so much purely in relation to the ship in cities, because otherwise you get shit like this going on. Anyway.
Of course the United Colonies is paying close attention. Heaven forbid something escaped their notice.
I don't like the, how much out in the sun I can see this off of Dazra. This suits a bit more Varun-like. It's not the main body parts of it. But I don't like the kind of copper panels on it. I think it looks a bit too much. It was teal, wasn't it? I think I've already got one of those. There we go. It's somehow slightly more subtle in its appearance. Probably because there's less contrast on those arm panels. Some good versions of that outfit. I think I've got another Varun outfit that's quite cool, but doesn't quite suit my character as much, I don't think. You really stared at my outfit then, like, what? The person who just walked past. Green scrubs are interesting. They're a little bit more subtle. Well, they've got little snakeskin effects to them. I'm not into that anyway. Another slab outfit. Find ruin robes, that's the one. Doesn't really suit my character quite as much. I don't think, anyway.
I do find that statue pleasing. I wonder if it matches the original vision of the artist, or if they changed the design as they worked on it.
Stayed up all night playing and shrouded, going. Yeah, I did have a. I did see a bit about the update there. Not dived into it. I haven't really got the space to install anything else to try it out at the minute. Right, so what are we getting rid of? Quite a bit of stuff, I think.
Appreciate the business.
Yeah, just getting off to death.
Dealing in art is
This when you're a smuggler. Fucking switch. Waterfall promenade at the top. Spaceport in the middle. Well at the bottom. In the order they are in reality. Not all over the fucking place. Unless it's trying to suggest that the well is actually technically on a higher level than the spaceport is, which could be the case. But mentally, it just doesn't track, you know? Feels like it has to be at the bottom if it's called the well.
all this stuff is absolute.
Yep, didn't think you'd have anything interesting.
Hey, take it easy.
Change the suit to a marine one. I haven't changed the suit. Spacesuit. Not too in a rush to worry about doing that. I kind of like a basic outfit as is, but I don't think I've got a purple suit with a pattern scarf yet anyway. I'll have to keep an eye out for one.
The Trade Authority does quite well for itself down here. And clearly they share little of the credit.
Awful lot in the new update. Farming pets, farming animals, taming pets, rescuing villagers to come and live with you. Okay, cool. Of course, people wander around and you can sign them beds. Yeah, I remember hearing about them wandering around and stuff to give a bit more life to places. Definitely a good step. There's my mag share. It's also advanced. Good. That's pretty good, actually, as far as a rune pain blade goes. That's right, cool.
profits they make.
The Trade Authority appreciates your visit.
I'm sure they do.
Combat medic. Thank you for your service.
Why are you checking my file when you're supposed to be guarding the Trade Authority's door? Plenty to keep you busy, aye? So I've been keeping myself busy and enjoying potching around in Skyrim at the minute. Got a video coming up tomorrow. So we'll finish off tonight, hopefully, and then I'll have to work on a build for 76 though. The main thing for the next, well, mostly tomorrow, I think. Why does she stand over here?
Welcome to UC. Oh.
Moving up and down along the counter I could get with, but standing away from it so it's a pain for you to get to is somewhat realistic, but not very practical from a gameplay standpoint. I checked the other day to see whether or not my... have I got that one? I don't know. I have. See whether or not my transmog mod had been updated to include the new Varun spacesuit appearances from the DLC, but it hasn't yet. So I'm still a bit disappointed about it. Cool. Progress.
Back to it then.
Definitely recognise her voice from Skyrim.
But it sure is rewarding.
Welcome to UC Distribution. You mean besides providing a pleasant face for customers to interact with? It's all in the name. Never a dull moment. I know some people don't believe it. Right. Come back if you need something else.
That's the line that gives it away. It's, I think that's the same person who voiced Arcadia. The apothecary in Whiterun. Is that her name? Arcadia? Something like that, anyway. I've got, if you imagine that voice but saying I've got lots of potions and alchemy reagents, then it should click. Because I'm pretty sure that's the same person. There are differences in the voice, but yeah, that's her all right. Yeah, that's the one. Arcadia's Cauldron. It's definitely the same voice. But, as I say, Bethesda do tend to use the same voice actors, so... Bethal shielded lab suit. Yep, I can go and sell that one as well. Yeah, I'm more into the being big scary hero type.
Due to recent welcome to UC. Oh, well.
In fact, I bet Arcadia is exactly why she got this particular role. People probably somebody was like, "Yeah, she was great as Arcadia," and remembers it fondly, and bumped her up the list for this one.
You're always welcome back, if you don't mind a bit of a wait.
It is a little bit weird sometimes, in that you can when you really recognise one voice from one game to the next, though. The only unfortunate thing Let's go to the lodge. Kind of getting to wrapping up time, which is why I'm getting rid of some of the bits and pieces rather than starting the next quest now. Let's run along the railing there. I thought we'll sort of get ourselves set for next time.
I do appreciate that.
Bay is voiced by Sugar. I can picture the guy, Wes something, I can't remember his surname though. Good actor, apparently all round nice guy. It's a bunch of charity stuff as well, and works with Fallout for Hope and stuff. Or yeah, they work together on stuff. Seems like a pretty good bloke.
I may not quite enjoy New Atlantis,
not as
but this...
Is Johnson?
This is much better.
Yeah, still the same actor, but yeah, I don't quite hear it quite so much in his case. I'm not as familiar, I think. It's a very cool thing. I would like one. Is it Ron Hope you're thinking of? Yeah, oh, okay. Yes, no, Ron Hope definitely is. I don't know who Bay is. He could have done both or not. I don't know. So yeah, I can respec there if I want to. But what I want to do right now is weapons workbench. This is this one, isn't it? Yeah, this used to be in my room upstairs. But the mod I've got that gives me access to it from anywhere to give me a universal stash. Makes life a lot easier. Has the option to move it down here, so you don't have to run around so much inside the lodge. So I decided to go for that. Starlash, wasn't it? Excuse me. Laser on it? No, I don't want one of those. Reflex sight, that's probably exactly what I want on it. Muzzle, stealth lasers. Kind of don't know, it's kind of my last choice, I think. The accuracy a little bit, so maybe. Battery. Large battery would be appealing. Cost of ADS speed and reload speed, maybe not. Tactical, small. Electromagnetic. Ignition is a significant boost in do more damage and burn enemies. So yeah, let's do that one. Internals. Amplifier is power output and increased damage. Rate of fire. Accuracy and range. All those have their appeals. Not so much that one, so that's a decent up. But I'll hold off on making a decision on that. Definitely going to check it out at full auto. Yep, no brainer.
I hope to find that change to be more effective.
Skin drip, that's fine. So boosts the damage quite a bit at 120. So that puts us up to 138. Fire rate is going to be better because our starting rate for both of these is... Oh, wait. No, wait. Damage output is going to be better. Because this is boosting my damage by 34.3. Whereas this one is only boosting my fire rate from 120 to 138, so by 18. So... yeah, like... yeah, about 14 points lower, so I think that's probably the way to go. obviously this is going to be a massive step down. The per shot damage is double there. So that's 50, so that's 100, doubled would be 114. This is 134. Fire rate on this is 345. So this is 120. So yeah, this is still way more damaging in its per shot, because it's like, what? Just under 3 times the damage, the fire rate. This is 57 to 34. Just over twice the per shot damage. So yeah, it is going to be a noticeable step down, that. But that's fine, because this is ridiculous. Although, this, I don't know if this uses ballistic skill. So the skills available, I've got rifles, which will affect both. Where is it? There it is. Both of these are rifle types. Ballistics will presumably lean into mag weapons, I would assume. Because there isn't a separate skill for mag weapons, I don't think. But there is one for lasers, which I don't have any points in. So I could lean over and spec into that one. That's what I'd need to grind up to get it to be a bit more viable, I think. Which I might do. We'll see how I feel. Thing I do know... it is quite a cool looking weapon, the Magshare, in a way. Very tool-like. Starlash is also kind of... It's kind of sci-fi. I like the shape of it and the look of the thing. It's a little bit more interesting than the basic Equinox in its angles and stuff. And that it has some rather than just being a box, but it's quite cool. It's still quite wide in your field of view there, as this is considerably narrower. That's one thing I'm not keen on. That particularly this rear end where it fills the full screen right under your chin there. That I'm not the biggest fan of. Yeah, you can see at the back there, this sort of bit here is wider than the rest of it. If it stayed on this sort of more narrow line most of the way down, and they found a way to include these interesting shapes, but without particularly it being at the top where it bulges out so much, keep the slim line better, it would look better. Does it actually have an iron sight built into it? It looks like it kind of does have one at the front. I don't know if it's got a rear part of the iron sight built into it though. No, it doesn't. Doesn't seem to anyway. A ceiling light that would help make my point a little better. Yeah, that is kind of obnoxiously in your face, really. Let's be getting confused as to which button. So it's F in Skyrim to switch between first and third person. It's V in 76, and in this game it's on the mouse wheel. Still, I might go for that. Turn around and you shoot your modded gun straight down the hallway. What, from here? Does seem moderately satisfying, although 12 shots is... Ooh, that's a very small magazine with a lot of reloading. So if I were to lose the ignition beams instead in favour of a large one, damage drop off is quite substantial there. And that only pushes it up to 20. It's still not a lot. Yeah, I think I have to stay where it is. Unless I maybe went for taking off fully auto and went for semi-auto, which would put out a lot more per shot damage. If I went down that that is a toughie. That is a tough call. I think, as you discussed, going down the DMR route there, Gray, I think that might be the call. You thought you'd get a bigger mag with it? Yeah, for a DMR, that wouldn't be quite so bad. Spend half your life reloading with this. That is a fast reload, though. Actually not that bothered by that. Given the speed of that reload. You can put a fair bit of damage down range with that reload speed. I think I feel a bit better about that now. That definitely feels a bit better. Incidentally, interesting thing I'll show you. Oh, that's my old ship looking kind of bug-like and cool. It's surprisingly wide at the back end, actually. What I'm going to do now is fire and hold from the moment I start shooting. I'm going to hold the trigger down without releasing and see what happens. Still holding it down. It'll fire, empty the magazine and reload it, but you don't start firing again unless you release and re-click. So the way to do it quickly is to wait for that reload animation to start and then release and re-click during the reload animation so that it carries on as if you'd never stopped. That was a bit too fast there. It's almost more like burst fire like that, isn't it? It's like a really big burst. Yes, definitely interesting. That works better than I thought it might. And it looks cooler than the Equinox does, so might have a play around with that over the next few days. Stroke my invisible beard. Invisible beard of contemplation or something. Anyway. Sliding all over the place on this chair. Yeah. Progressive. What's the word? Not progressive. Productive. That's the word I'm looking for. Evening today of Starfield. Which is cool. Enjoyed that. Looking forward to seeing what the other two houses are up to, because we know we're going to drop House Kadik into a load of shit later on. And the others will probably need dropping in the shit as well. We'll see what happens. I think I'll probably end up feeling that I'm glad I helped the people of House Verun generally, but their politicians deserve what's coming their way, which is, somewhat realistic. Perhaps a little too realistic. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so tomorrow is Thursday. Gonna have a video up tomorrow, little one. It will be Starfield related. And we'll jump into the Axis Unseen tomorrow night. So we'll get back to our sneaky bow hunting of mythical creatures and the like in a mythical world. Dimension or whatever it is that we're in. Be still struggling with the transition there. I wonder if it's turning off the game that it struggles with more, or if it's the switch of scenes. Just try a quick theory. This might go a bit wibbly a second. Why not? Didn't seem to have too much issue with that. No, doesn't seem to have acknowledged that at all. How about going the other way? No, not really. Negligible. It must just be the opening and closing of the game that it doesn't like very much. Maybe I should start doing that before and after the stream. If I remember, maybe. We'll think about it. Yeah. Good fun. So, I'm going to aim to have a Fallout video up on Saturday, if I can. Timing should hopefully align. We'll see. I need to dive into the Atomic Shop and see what the new stuff on the Atomic Shop this week is. I gather there is some stuff to take a look at. So, I'll see what's going on there. And failing that, I might have a slightly harder time because I have to come up with some kind of thing to do, to build. We'll see how we do. And yeah, so looking forward to jumping into the Axis Unseen the next couple of days. Should be good as well. If you haven't checked that one out and you're curious, there are the first section of it is up on the live page, and the rest, as usual, as with all the games we play, are up on playlists. So if you do want to check any of those out, do have a little gander. Lots and lots of interesting stuff out both Bethesda and beyond to take a look at if you want to. Yeah, that's the plan for now. I mentioned this before, but anyway, looking further ahead on down the line, as much as I want to play Stalker 2, I still don't believe the system requirements that have come out for it, even though they have been updated. It has been suggested further updates may be likely to come further on down the road for higher graphics presets. System requirements for higher tier graphics presets might be released nearer to launch for Stalker 2, but yeah, if they are, I suspect they will be substantially higher. Which is fine, because we haven't played Call of Pripyat yet, and I want to play that at some point. Probably before I play Stalker 2, so that might have to get bumped down the road a little bit, which is fine. We also have, in early December, Indiana Jones coming out, so I definitely want to check that out too, because that looks very, very cool. So yeah, lots sort of queued up to happen over the next little while. And then loads of old stuff, loads of upcoming stuff for next year. We've got plenty of stuff to keep us busy. Could I do a video on the history of Fallout? Hell no. There's too many gaps in it that I just plain don't know. And it depends whether you mean the history of the franchise. In some ways would be more manageable. But if you went history as in the internal lore type history, then that's same set of problems, but far worse. It is too expansive, too extensive, and just not my thing. Deep diving into lore in that kind of a way is just, yeah, not me. There are those out there who cover such things on both fronts, though, Shifty, so if it's something you want to look for, then they are out there. But for me, it's not the sort of thing I would particularly enjoy setting up and doing, and it would be a huge amount of work. So I don't think I'm, not that I object to the work itself, but if I'm going to do the work, I bloody well better enjoy it, and I won't for that. So, yeah, not my bag, I don't think. Yeah, as I say, it's definitely out there. There are those who definitely do enjoy that sort of thing. Yeah, Ox does a hell of a lot of lore stuff. He's doing quite a lot of Fallout stuff, quite a lot of cool stuff at the moment. He's playing Fallout London and doing videos on that. He's doing lots of lore on Fallout 4 and other things besides. At least once a week as well, which requires considerable time and effort and research on his part as well, I'm sure. I have no doubt he's kept very busy with that. And if I remember rightly, the guy's got a family as well to run around after. And I'm sure they take up a considerable amount of time as well. I have zero doubts on that point. Yeah. That's weird. Just noticed something that should be happening is not happening. I don't know why. The audio output on OBS looks absolutely fine. There should be an illuminated thing on my audio interface to show that my microphone is picking up sound right now, but there is not so much as a flicker, which is weird. I might try a quick thing. Hang on. I'll mute this. Okay, so apparently my voice is just not peaking out that hard, really. Just at least as far as the gain on the interface is concerned. I guess OBS must be doing a bit more lifting, but even OBS is actually more turned down rather than anything else. Although I have got like compressors and stuff kicking in, so that'll be part of it. I guess the compressor must be doing a fair bit of work there. Actually, it is. Now I think about it, which explains why I haven't got any flickering lights on my interface, because it is coming in at quite low level. When did the bombs drop? That answer I can absolutely give you, Shifty. It was Saturday, the 23rd of October, 2077. Is when? Oh, why did the bombs drop? And no actual evidence to support the idea that Vault-Tec was behind it. Yet, Steve. Dulcet. I heard that word before, but even with what little Latin I did study, I don't know it. The why, well, that's never actually been officially answered, really. There's a lot of theories that suggest Vault-Tec was behind it, but it doesn't make any sense at all. There has been some recent suggestions that give more credence to that possibility, but it still doesn't make sense, and there's no evidence to actually suggest it happened. So, yeah, it's still just a theory at the moment. Far more likely, geopolitical tensions spilled over and somebody pressed the button. Also, there's the idea, like, Vault-Tec had the finger on the trigger. How? Nations keep very, very, very tight controls over who has the ability to launch their nuclear weapons. How some private company could get around that, I'm not saying it's impossible, but sure as hell wouldn't be easy, unless they built their own and tried to push it off on governments as having launched. I suppose they could have potentially pulled that off, but even that wouldn't be too easy to do. Circumstantial evidence? I don't think there's anything that holds any water, though. That's stuff about them talking about having done it, but one person's talking about it and having ideas doesn't back it up. And ultimately, it'd be a bloody stupid thing for Vault-Tec to do, because the minute Vault-Tec, the nukes launch, Vault-Tec go out of business. Absolutely guaranteed. Because Vault-Tec's product is selling places in the vaults. Once the nukes have been launched, you can't sell any more products in the vault. You can't. Yeah, they have no more product to sell. And potentially 2 keys, but even if it only requires a single passcode, then you wouldn't even be able to get a hold of them, or they'd make it damn near impossible. Control 0000 in the first use computers, and it wasn't changed until after Reagan's era. That wouldn't surprise me, but also wouldn't surprise me if that was just a rumour. Or if there were potentially additional steps that you had to get through to get there. Either way. Even if it was, it doesn't mean just anybody could just walk in and press the button. There'll be additional layers of security. Yeah. Like I say, it makes no sense for a business which is going to be primarily geared around making profit. Even though some people had other ideas, they weren't in control. Those people weren't in control of the whole company anyway. Yeah, a business exists to make a profit and does so by selling its product, i.e. places in a vault. Because the building vault is just investment in having a product to sell, a place for people to go and shelter in the event of nuclear war. As soon as the bombs launch, bang, your product's gone. Nobody's going to actually buy places in the vault after the nukes have launched, because it's now too late, and also money doesn't mean anything anymore because all the computers have been wiped out. So, yeah, there's no currency to trade. The company's gone. So, launching nukes does not make any sense whatsoever for Vault-Tec. The idea of the interloper being behind it. I don't know enough about that concept, really, to form much of an opinion on it. But, yeah, the idea of influence by an eldritch being does seem interesting. Although, Hmm. Yeah, but the research doesn't get them anything because they can't sell it. Oh, or unless they sell it. But once the bombs drop again, they've got nobody to sell it to. So, again, kills off any ability to profit, which is obviously what the company exists to do. So, they have no marketplace on which to sell their product and nothing to exchange their product for either. So the trade goes out the window. So again, it's not in their interest to launch the nukes. Assuming they have shareholders, which seems likely that they would do, the shareholders would be entirely opposed to the idea of actually triggering the war, not least of all because they would also die as a result of the company's pursuit of whatever non-profitable goal was leading them to think that launching nukes was a good idea. It just doesn't make sense for a business to do that. The government, well, it doesn't make much sense there either, but it's a slightly more credible possibility. Or some lunatic, hell, even the Eldritch Horror thing is slightly more convincing than the idea that a business that seeks profit would launch nukes and therefore eliminate any means for it to continue trading. To my mind, anyway. Anyway, that's how I feel about it. Like I say, I haven't seen a lot of the evidence for anything really outside of the high-level stuff in games and in the show, and none of it really adds up to a conclusion that holds a great deal of water in my particular view. Not in their interest to create different research to put in the vaults and vaults. Forward planning investment would be the thing there, I would think, Steve. Getting people to invest in the idea that they believe will be profitable in future. Creating things to do in the vaults, creating the vaults themselves as a saleable product. All that has to be done in order to create something that will then generate profit. But in order to build those things, establish the research, build the vaults, all that stuff, you need initial investment, which, the money's got to come from somewhere. So, yeah, they've got so they need the idea to get the initial investment, and they need to use that investment in the intended way. Otherwise, it becomes a bit of a Ponzi scheme, and also. To continue to draw in subsequent investment on down the line, in order to continue building their product to then sell it, they would need to actually show that they were doing something with the money that had been invested in them. Also, we've seen what happens when companies don't use their investments for the things that they claim they're going to. The fraud tends to catch up with them a bit. They could be held off and used by some other organisation to achieve another goal, wherein profit wasn't their goal, I suppose. It would need a third-party involvement further out, I think. Somebody else pulling the strings, that's the phrase. Because for Vault-Tec alone, I might be overlooking something, but from where I'm currently sitting, I can't see a reason that a business would want to do that. Anyway, that's my take. Right, folks, I am in need of the bathroom, so I'm going to head off. Thank you for hanging out. It's been fun chatting and enjoying tonight's little Starfield session that I very nearly called Skyrim then. But you know what I mean. It was good fun. I'm looking forward to playing some more next week. I've scratched my arm on something. I wonder how I've done that. Access Unseen tomorrow. Should be good. Looking forward to it. Be good fun. We'll jump in around about 8 o'clock. Should be cool. Yes, I definitely agree with you there. I think getting people talking and vagaries are interesting. Mysteries and generating conversation and theories and the like are definitely on the list of goals. Get people talking about your IP from whether it be a writer's standpoint or a company selling a product standpoint is definitely something they want. Results from Vault-Tec experiments were sent to Enclave HQ. All of them or just some of them? That's interesting. There might have been a relationship, an established relationship between Vault-Tec and the Enclave. Doesn't seem to me that in the grand scheme the Enclave really benefited from the nukes either, although they may have expected to and then not have done so. No, things don't always work out according to plan, so... But... I don't know. Still seems like it's iffy. Although that doesn't mean that they launched nukes or anything like that. It just means that they were reporting results to a potential group of investors, really. I don't know. There's also the possibility that, as far as I'm aware, after the bombs drop, there's no direct communication between Vault-Tec and anybody else. There's individuals in the vaults and small clusters of vaults we know of that communicate with each other. But Vault-Tec as a company, as far as I know, doesn't exist after the bombs drop. There's no evidence. There's plenty of cases where people were wanting to communicate with Vault-Tec, expecting to be communicating with Vault-Tec, and it didn't happen. Primarily look at Vault 111, for example, in Fallout 4. They're waiting for that all-clear message to come through, or some kind of communication from Vault-Tec that never came. And there are other examples of that. So Vault-Tec itself probably doesn't exist. So it may have been a pre-automated system to send results back to their investors, or it may be that something was co-opted after Vault-Tec ceased to exist by the Enclave. So it may not have been Vault-Tec at all. It may have been after the fact. The Enclave, Vault-Tec disappears with the Great War. The Enclave's forces take over some Vault-Tec facility, head office or whatever, for example, or at least bust in there and take control of some of their reporting systems and redirect the reports back to the Enclave. I don't know. Many possibilities. Yeah, doubtless these conversations are something they like and sought to encourage. Yeah. Enclave are a mysterious bunch. Yes. Thank you for hanging out. I'm going to head off now. Have yourselves a good rest of your evening. Do appreciate you all hanging out. It's been fun. And yeah, join us tomorrow for Access Unseen. It should be cool. So until then, have yourselves a good rest of your evening. Have a good day tomorrow. Look after yourselves. Stay safe. I will see you around about the usual time tomorrow night. See you then. Hey, folks.